I tend to break the rules a little bit when it comes to filmmaking. Typically, you need big budgets, big crews, studio approvals, and all sorts of stuff like that. I don't like big crews. I like to work with small, intimate crews, and I like to be my own crew where I can as well. You can be basically nobody and just make a film that you love. And if it's really good, if you're true to yourself and you're passionate and you believe in what you're doing, then surely some other people are going to like it too. And if that happens, well, you might just have a hit on your hands. It took 2.5 years to make this film. The very beginning of January 2017, I started writing it. It took about 5 months to come up with the script when I worked on it full time, and ended up with something that was supposed to be the pilot episode of a 10-part series, because I wrote some other episodes. But as it turned out, we went to make the pilot and it ended up being sort of so epic and so expensive, and it took so long that we just kind of called that a feature film. Gave it a satisfactory conclusion and just called that a feature film. Early 2017, I launched a Kickstarter campaign to raise, all I wanted was $2,000 to just get this thing going, because I was still writing the script and I knew it would be good. And I started talking to some actors and I thought, where's the money going to come from to at least get some of the basic costumes and props and hats and things together for these guys? So we launched that campaign, and I didn't really expect that it would actually meet the target, but funnily enough it did, and that was a great way to begin. So Kickstarter really helped to get this thing in motion. A lot more funds were required after that as time went on, but it was a great way to get started.
My roles mainly consisted of supporting Ian and the crew, and essentially doing anything I could to make the production go smoother. So running around behind the scenes, getting things together, and a lot of set design and organisation, and working with the actors to make sure they were comfortable.
All getting ready. Dougal's looking a little worse for wear.
It's always a great experience to work on Ian's films, because I know his projects are always going to be a fun thing to work on, because not only do I get to work with an amazing crew, but also with an amazing bunch of actors. It's just great to work with a whole bunch of amazing creatives on a project and bring it to life.
There was a lot of sourcing of materials, of costumes, of locations, studios falling through, inventiveness, having to make something of nothing sometimes. And I think it really, really speaks for the ingenuity and creativity of the people involved in this film.
Here we are, this is the first shot of Blackwater. We're finally doing it, the church scene. Woo! Everyone's here, we're ready to go. Scene 10, take 1, we're about to do it. Ow! Ow! Stay tuned for more. Blackwater is set in the 1890s in North America, and it's based around a small fictional mining town called Blackwater. The townsfolk of Blackwater have their backs against the wall. Blackwater is also about desperation. It's about what happens to people when they're pushed and pushed and pushed right up into a corner. This Ace Dalton gang has ridden into town like they own the place. They hang the deputy, they take over, and it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? So what we're going to do is get you four to kind of come busting in, the door's already open, but just come running in and then end up in that kind of position, guns raised, sort of at this guy, he'll turn around and face you, and that's just the shot we're going to get real quick. Is that alright?
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah. Cool. So if you guys don't mind, do that now. Just head out. Come running in. As soon as
you open the door, no, we're just gonna walk in.
No, the door will already be open. Just come in kind of quickly.
Have it your way.
we filmed the shootout scene in the church. One shot that I remember, a reaction shot of One-Eyed Jack looking towards Ace Dalton just before the shootout, before it breaks, just to add to the build-up of the scene of what is about to happen, and made that build-up so much more.
We meet all kinds of interesting characters as the story progresses. We start with the Ace Dalton gang. We are introduced to the sheriff, Gil Sanderson, and the deputy, Nigel Saint. It doesn't take very much time at all before there's a conflict between the lawmen and the outlaws. I think it's just fascinating, and the actors delivered that so well.
It won't be next time you keep spouting off like that, son.
Chris Turner was Nigel Saint. He really took that on and made it a bigger thing than what it really was. He made that character his own, and he was absolutely flawless with it.
Before long, we meet the sheriff's daughter, Daphne Sanderson, who lives on a ranch 3 miles from Blackwater. She is a hard-working rancher, independent woman, lives on the ranch with a handful of people, including Betty, her housemaid. She comes across a gentleman called Balthazar Delacroix, a travelling southern gentleman who's very mysterious, who seems to be lost, and she helps him find his way to Blackwater.
I do beg your pardon, miss. I'm looking for a nearby camp around these parts by the name of Blackwater.
He was the typical southern gentleman with the beautiful white suit and the black ribbon bow tie. Justin himself was very dedicated to the role. He threw himself into the part of the southern gentleman.
Now, you are definitely not getting any apple pie.
So we're here in Coomina filming Blackwater. This is day 15. It's where are you? We got Vanessa and Justin here, and I'm here too, as you can see. We're in Coomina, Queensland, doing day 16 of Blackwater. I can't believe we're still filming it in February of 2019.
2020.
It feels like it. But we're getting through it, and it's amazing, and these guys are just working their magic. We all are, and it's really, really damn cool. So can't wait for you guys all to see it. Look out for a second teaser trailer coming out very soon, and there were so many wonderful performances in this film that it's hard to pick a favourite because they're just all so good.
Herschel, what's wrong?
This film in particular has been very different just because of the Western setting, and since it's a period piece, there's a whole lot of challenges that come with that. It's just a bigger scale than anything I think a lot of people who worked on this film had done.
Probably the most challenging aspect of the job was to ensure that accuracy, to enable people to suspend their disbelief when they see the final product, that they are actually watching people in that time period. And that is a really, really difficult and challenging thing to do.
You fellas from around these parts?
We go where the work is.
What kind of work would that be, sir? What's your name, mister? I think the most challenging aspect was actually coming up with the right accent and coming up with the right American accent that wasn't going to be too overboard, but was going to be suiting the character that I was playing. Now, don't be causing no trouble now. Best you get to wherever you're going before we find ourselves ill-acquainted, friend. When it hit that screen and I saw it there in all its glory, I was very, very impressed. I wasn't quite expecting it to see, for it to be looking so filmic. Green, Chester Green, and it's quite all right, sir. Allow me to unravel the cage. Next round's on me, fellas. I think the colour grading, I think the special effects that Ian was able to incorporate in that, fitted in so well, and I think it really looked fantastic.
We come across a lot of other interesting characters. There's Reverend Patrick Flanagan, the town priest, who's also a drunkard. Benjamin Billings, who's a stoic bounty hunter. There's so many fascinating characters there.
The cast of Blackwater are some of the most interesting, colourful and expressive people that I have had the opportunity of ever interacting with. There's always amusing moments when Jesse is around. He never failed to provide a moment where there was comedic relief in the studio, where he was dancing around and it had everyone in stitches. It was just the most spontaneous and amusing thing that I can remember from the shoot.
Jump and pop till we drop and start again. Zip zap zap pop like a mop school around the corner.
You know, the chances are, bro, that we could be moving out as soon as this evening.
You can always be guaranteed of some sort of fun and shenanigans.
I got to work with an amazing cast and crew. Like, I'm very lucky because they're all very good at their job and everyone worked very, very hard. And that sort of was great because everyone's supporting each other.
I mainly just remember mucking around between scenes, and also things like making an adventure out of making our costumes dirty. So we had a good time rolling on the ground and embarrassing ourselves in front of the tourists who were walking around.
I remember being on set and just standing there waiting to do my shoot, running the lines in my head, as you do, getting yourself in the moment, ready to go, build up. And all I felt was this big splat on the back, and I look around and there's I think it was Daniel or it was Tim, the big wad of mud straight on me back. He goes, "You got to get dirty." And here I am with two grown men rubbing me down with dirt and mud and all that, making us look dirty and scrubbing us all up. That was one of the fun parts, just two grown men rubbing me up while we're trying to film. Yeah. Sorry, honey. You know what? It's going to sound cliche. Every day I was on set, I loved it. Okay, so I heard this, Jason! And I looked around, there was John Regan, and I'd done so much work with John before in other films I'd been a part of, and I've gone, oh, beauty. And I knew John was in it, but I just didn't expect to see him there on the days that I was filming. And he didn't just come over and shake my hand, he came up and gave me this big bear crunching hug as John does. And then there's a tap on the shoulder, and I look around, and there's Graham K. Finesse. And I've worked with Graham before, and then I looked around the corner, and there's Daniel James. Well, I'd worked with Daniel before, and all of a sudden, I'm thinking, oh, this is great. And then this guy walks around the corner. He's about 6'3", decked out in all this gear, looking as mean as ever. And I've gone, oh. And John's gone, that's Johnny Norris. He plays Ace Dalton. And I looked and I've gone, yep, he's definitely Ace Dalton, all right. I thought, he's a bit intimidating. And the first thing he did was walk up and just shook my hand and gone, great to have on board, mate. Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know, Leon. This one here, she kind of pretty.
Jason Muller, wow. And Jason Muller came into that role so lively and so real, and his intensity was quite frightening at times.
He was just a nutcase that you could do anything with. And when you get that, you just find the world opens up. If you want to spit in someone's face, or if you want to headbutt someone just for no reason, you could with it. And that's the greatest thing about that. And with Ian's direction behind it, he'd let you do it.
Ian had put a lot of time and a lot of effort. I thought he was very, very calm in his direction, and but also very straightforward in what he wanted. And I thought he, brought the best out in all of his characters.
When Ian suggested for this Western film to be not an Australian Western, but an American Western, the moment he said that, I understood that that's the goal he wanted. He wanted to create something like for an audience to watch this and not realise, hey, these are just made by a couple of guys from Australia making an American Western.
It's about weaving an intricate alternate reality that might have existed somewhere on our history's timeline. Creating the costumes itself was a little difficult in that there was a distance between myself and the actors. So what that involved was a lot of correspondence and having them measure themselves in order to make those costumes fit them properly. We've come a long way from the beginning, from the inception of the idea, from the initial birth of the characters to on paper, to seeing them in real life. It was a very emotional moment for me to see all of these actors put those costumes on them and to see those characters come to life for the first time.
The first day I got to see everyone actually wearing their costumes, I was like, wow, that's what I imagined. But Probably better. It's just one of those areas I think needs a lot of attention, and I think especially in a period piece. And I think that fantastic, amazing looking costumes on brilliant actors under incredible lights with beautiful cinematography and editing and incredible soundtrack, etc., is what makes a movie great.
Well, Miss Sanderson, if Betty's apple pie is indeed as good as you say it is, it'd be my absolute pleasure.
My composer Enrico is, in my opinion, just a genius. I mean, he has worked on some really big budget stuff before, but he has decided to help me out and work on my films because he believes in what I'm doing, and I'm just so lucky to have such a talented composer come on board, and especially an Italian who just brilliantly wrote this Western sort of score for this film, and it just fits it perfectly. I'd cut together some scenes and send it to Enrico, and he'd send it back and say, "What do you think of this?" And I'd just be nearly have tears in my eyes. Like, I'd be blown away at just the effort, the amount, just how beautiful it was. And I'm very lucky to have had Enrico on board. He's a fantastic composer and a great person.
What can I say, Sheriff? It had to be done. The only reason you're still drawing breath is that I need you to tell me the whereabouts of that gold you buried in them hills north of here.
So green screen is interesting because obviously the environment that you're going to be placing the actors into isn't really there. You've got to imagine that it's there and know the layout of the place before you go setting up tables and chairs and placing actors in the environment. So I had to think very vividly and very clearly about what kind of environment that they would be in, particularly the saloon. I had to think a lot about where the bar is, where is the staircase, where are the tables and chairs, where's the entrance in relation to the bar, what's upstairs, is there a back door, is there, what sort of details do you dress the set with? It's a lot of fun. It's a really cool way of putting your actors into an environment that doesn't exist. And I can't think of a lot of westerns that are done that way, if any.
If something unfortunate was to transpire here, who would come to our aid, sir? Surely it can't just be you two protecting all of Blackwater from any inequitable contentions.
So I did what I know how to do and assigned the saloon particularly, and Daphne's house, and the jail, basically as 3D models, and composite those actors into that environment. And it might not look entirely real, but I mean, I don't mind that. There's something in that style that's kind of almost comic book-like that I just really love. You have to have the imagination for what the environment would be around them. And as a director, you have to be able to get your actors believing that they're in that environment. If it doesn't come across on screen like those actors believe they're in that environment, then I don't expect the audience to believe it.
Yeah, I get it, Dutch.
Hey, and don't drink so much. You need to keep your minds clear.
The green screen environment is definitely a challenge to work in as an actor, mainly because you don't have a reference to what you're supposed to be looking at, for one, but also your surroundings. So one actor could picture the scene you're in completely different to the other, so you could have different interpretations of what the setting you're sitting in actually looks like. Ian's job came in to really sell us on where we were and the environment we were performing those scenes in.
At the start of production, I felt like I didn't prepare myself mentally for the amount of hours that were going to be put into this production, But I learned very quickly to just push through that. My mind's going, no, this film's fantastic, just push through it. Any physical pain I had, I went, I don't care, I want to get this scene done.
But when things start falling apart, you can't just curl up and give up. You've got to keep fighting. You've got to keep pushing through. Otherwise, it'll never get made. Everything that goes wrong is a sign that things are about to start going right. I'm just so happy that it's coming together, and that despite everything that has fallen down and everything that comes crashing down on you, we just keep going and we don't give up. And because of that, we're creating something great and something different. And yeah, we've just finished wrapping day 2 just now, and boy was it was fire, you know. So can't wait for you guys to see what we're doing. It's super exciting, and I just feel so lucky. I feel so lucky to work with my cast and my crew, especially, who are just awesome at their jobs, and everyone's attitude is amazing. So I'm just full of love right now. I'm full of positivity because I'm feeling it. That's the vibe we have in here when everyone leaves, and oh man, is it exciting. I can't wait to share with you all what we've done today.
There's hidden gold, there's betrayal, there's love, and there's death, and there's hangings and fast horses and houses being burned down and everything. So there's a lot more to it than bad guys taking over and the good guys having to take their place back. Every spare hour you can put in full time for 2.5 years. But it wasn't just me. There were so many wonderful people working on the film and doing a really great job of bringing their A game every day on set.
Hello everyone, welcome to our premiere of Blackwater. My name is Dougal Graydon. I was the assistant director on Blackwater. I witnessed a tremendous amount of generosity and enthusiasm. Actors taking up crew roles, crew members acting, and then also people in the community offering their homes, their businesses, and in some cases their horses.
Learning to ride a horse on set, that was something else. It really was. And yeah, we actually in the first couple of takes, I saw one of the trainers come off the horse, and that was kind of nerve-wracking. I was like, oh, I hope I don't get that horse. After playing that role, I feel like the bad guy sort of, I don't know, you have more to play with.
And of course, Ian is just a superman when it comes to, directing and writing and things like that, as well as being a nice guy. I've got to say that.
So you play the daughter of the sheriff. Are you the typical damsel in distress for this movie?
Oh my gosh, no. Daphne Sanderson is a firecracker. She's been secluded on her ranch for a long time, but she's got the loving strength of her father. So when he goes missing, all of that fire, all of that intensity that he's taught her over the years comes forth. I would say she's a little bit of a tomboy. So she's not a damsel. She is definitely not a damsel.
From reading the script, it'll be amazing. If 10's the best, then beyond 10, it's one of those things where you look forward to seeing what the after effects are going to be and what Ian and his team are going to bring to that. All the special stuff behind the scenes, it's going to add to it, because on set it was amazing already, and to have that added element of what they do in post brought to it, I think it's just going to make it that way more magical, and I can't wait.
Well, you never stop learning. You never stop learning. And, the character, the beard, the clothing, the era, the accent, direction from Ian, you'll learn something in every move you do, and you take it along with you. You're a better actor every time you do a good film with a good director, a good movie, a good script, So I'm just a better actor.
So what was your favourite scene to do in the movie? Can you give us a little bit of a description preview?
I would have to say when I meet Daphne Sanderson, our introduction, it's sort of like that moment where you connect with someone straight off the bat. You've met them and you've got that vibe where you feel like, yeah, we click together as really good companions, and I think for me that was my favourite time on set.
And that was what was so great about this film, is that you know, it wasn't. It's being shot in Australia. Obviously, we all are Aussies. We've lived here all our lives, and we've all looked up to this American persona of the Western, you know, and always dreamed of being in one, and never really thought it would happen here at home.
Now I'd like to ask you all to give a big round of applause for our director, Ian Fulton.
I couldn't do it without all of you people coming here and helping me with this. The profits made from tonight are only going to go towards making something bigger and better next time.
You guys are awesome. All the volunteers as well. Like, you're amazing. If we needed something, they would do it. If we needed something made up, they would go and make it. You know, if we needed whatever we needed, they would do it. They just did a great job. So thanks to them. Thanks also to Nash Horse Trekking. Here we go. The cowboys are in the house. How am I going to do a cowboy movie? Like an American? I mean, really? How are you going to do that? I certainly got that question a lot. American Western, yeah, right. How are you going to do that? I don't know. I'm going to do it though. Well, here we are, right?
Real spaghetti Western, or I call this Vegemite Western, because Aussie, yeah.
This film is so much bigger than anything I've ever made before, by 10 times.
We're doing something we love, and it doesn't matter. It's not anyone's business how much I could or couldn't pay the actors or whatever. They just were honoured to do it. And I wasn't twisting anyone's arm. They were happy to do it, and they did an amazing job.
Every single person who took part really took something away from it.
Couldn't be happier, prouder, and very, very chuffed to be a part of Ian's film.
People could see that this was something worth dedicating their time to.
I just make movies that I like, and I hope that other people like them too. And I'm going to keep doing that. I don't prioritise money. I don't prioritise, having the most expensive cameras or anything like that. I prioritise a strong script and making the film that I want to make. And if other people enjoy that film, that's great, because I do want people to enjoy it.
Working with Ian, the best part about it, it's just a beer at the end of the day. Once that final sticks is clapped, the first thing that happens is, that's it, boys. Ian's not a director, and he's one of the boys, and it's that beer at the end of the day, laughing, and it's just that switch off. It's fantastic, and I love that. That makes him, shows you how human he is and part of the crew, and makes it amazing.